Joined now by our coast-to-coast strategist on the left coast in San Diego, Mindy Tucker-Fleischer. She worked for George W. Bush, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and others. And on the right coast, D.C. Bureau Democratic strategist and co-founder of Purple Strategies, Steve McMahon. Thank you both for joining us. Let's start basic. Mindy, you are a Republican. You're not for Donald Trump, but give us your sense of the state of the race. What are Donald Trump's chances of winning this?
Well, first of all, I always remind people there are several weeks left in the election. Anything can happen. There's a debate left. That can change things always. But it's not looking good. He has, of his own volition, I don't care how many years ago it was, said something that has really shaken the race up and I think turned off a large group of voters who will not be voting for him now. I think he's in trouble.
Steve McMahon, tick off the things that would have to happen to put Donald Trump in position to win the race.
Well, first of all, the international conspiracy that's being waged would have to stop. The media would have to stop doing everything it can to block his path to the White House.
Give me a serious list. Serious list.
Well, listen. What he needs to do is he needs to give people some reason to be for him. He needs to stop attacking Paul Ryan. He needs to stop, frankly, attacking Hillary Clinton, and he needs to get back to a change argument that, frankly, is really, really powerful. And if he had stuck to it from the beginning or from his convention and not gotten off on all these rabbit holes, he might be in a different position today. But I think Mindy's right. I think what he said 11 years ago ultimately shook this race to its core. There were people who hadn't decided, who were still considering him, and I believe that those people largely are now turning against him. And I think what you're going to see is the erosion will continue. It's going to get worse. There are going to be more and more Republican senators who are in jeopardy. I think the Democratic chances in the House have improved dramatically. I think it's still tough, but now it's possible, and it's all because of Donald Trump.
Steve, I'm going to stay with you. We all assume there are going to be more hacked emails that come out between now and Election Day, that WikiLeaks will continue to be a factor. Most of the stuff is not broken through with voters, especially compared to the controversies around Trump. What would it take in terms of a WikiLeaks revelation? What kind of revelation would it take to finally actually cut ice and have real political impact on the race?
Well, first of all, I think it would take a revelation. It would have to be something that goes beyond kind of the normal sort of gossipy stuff that you see inside campaigns. I mean, what's come out of WikiLeaks so far is interesting, and for those of us on the inside, you know, we read it, we think, well, I know that person, I know this person. But to a voter, it doesn't make any difference. It's not anything interesting, it's not anything newsworthy. In order for something revelatory to occur, it would have to be something that, you know, that stops the news cycle in its tracks like Donald Trump's tape did, and that gets people to ask again about Hillary Clinton, is this what we really want to do? They were asking that question at one time. I think she's answered it pretty effectively. I think her campaign has done a really good job of mitigating and minimizing the impact of all this noise, and it's really all Donald Trump just stepping all over himself for the last 2 weeks.
Mindy, we talked earlier on the show about Melania Trump coming out and doing these two interviews that aired last night and today. To me, looking at that, that suggests that the Trump campaign recognizes that it still has a problem as a result of the fault that both the Access Hollywood tape and the women who have come forward and continue to come forward to accuse Donald Trump. Does it look like that to you? This is a situation where you send the spouse out because you recognize you're still hemorrhaging voters, hemorrhaging support?
Yeah, that's exactly what it looked like to me. Is they thought it was going to go away. They tried to blame Bill Clinton. They trotted out all of his women problems. It's not going away. It's way bigger than I think they anticipated it, which again just shows us how, you know, disjointed he is from reality, that he can say these things and it won't be a big deal. But I think definitely bringing her out, and I don't know that it's going to help at this point. It's not big enough to overcome what he said, and it's, you know, we're still talking about this a week later. It's a problem for him. It's not going away. I don't have any great advice for him, nor would I give it to him if I did, to change this around.
Mindy, does it matter if Hillary Clinton starts talking more about her agenda for the country, about bringing the country together? Did that make a difference in either her chances of winning over the last few weeks or her chances of governing if she does win?
I think it's helpful. You know, what Michelle Obama showed us last week is that her surrogates can be really powerful. The anger against her and the problems she has haven't changed. They're still there. There's still a lot of people in America angry with her and don't trust her. That still exists. But as others are able to come out with a bigger message about America and the soul of our country and how much this election matters, bigger than party, I think that goes a long way to helping Hillary Clinton. Michelle Obama knocked it out of the park last week. She really changed the face of this election for a lot of people, especially women. And if they can continue to make moves like that, I think that would be really helpful to her and very smart.
So, if I could, I think
Steve,
Mindy's right
Wall.
about what...
Go ahead, Steve.
I was going to say, I think Mindy's right about what Michelle Obama was able to accomplish, but I also think, Mark, that you were right when you start to talk about this turn that Hillary Clinton can begin to make toward uniting the country, toward a hopeful future that's a better future for everybody, a willingness to work with Republicans when it's appropriate and to fight them when necessary, because she is, after all, going to be elected president with a pretty substantial electoral college majority. But I don't see any harm in reaching out her hand and saying, I understand that it's my job to make this country work. I know the Republicans control the Congress for the moment, and I'm going to work with whoever's there to move this country forward. I think a lot of people would like to hear that, and especially those people who for until a week ago were on the fence. They would like some reassurance.
Steve, Chris Wass, a pretty aggressive questioner. If you were Hillary Clinton's team, what topic would you be most worried about his raising tomorrow night in the debate?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't want to be talking about, you know, any sort of allegations about the Clinton Foundation, the quid pro quos and those things, because you can't really disprove a negative. And any time you're spent talking on that, you're off your message. I presume Chris Wallace will ask about that stuff. I think Donald Trump will press it. I think Hillary Clinton would be wise to sort of step past it and look to the future. She's going to be the next president of the United States. She's going to be the first woman. She's going to come to office at a time that's very partisan, very polarized. Her approval numbers are not going to probably be too much better than they are right now. And it's her job to try to bring this country together. And she can start that tomorrow night by looking like a grown-up and by looking past these childish questions.
Mindy, at this moment, do you anticipate Democrats controlling the Senate and or the House come November 9th?
I'm sort of on the fence about it. I think there's a chance, just given what's going on, and if Hillary continues to snowball her lead and she's going into places like Arizona and who knows a week from now what other states we're going to be talking about. But I also am very aware of this anger that still exists out there and this frustration. And so I'm hopeful that in some way that manifests itself in sort of a bipartisan result where we have checks and balances in terms of party in Washington. But I'm not going to predict. I think if you'd asked me a year ago, I would have said Donald Trump would never be our nominee, and here we are. So I've given up predicting in this election. It's too crazy. I just think we all need to be mindful of the sentiment out there and what's going on and how angry people are and the fact that we could end up with just about anything in November.
Okay, Mindy Tucker Fletcher, not angry. Steve McMahon, not angry, but seeing the anger all around us. Thank you both.